Hello, how are you? Have you ever felt that frustration of doing everything right, training, exercising, sleeping well, and when you go to weigh yourself, it seems like the scale is stuck and just won't go down? Why does that happen? Many times, our body has other strange, unusual ways of showing us that we're on the right track, that we really are managing to lose weight, burning fat, reducing the body's fat mass. And today I'm going to tell you 10 signs to pay attention to, showing that this is really happening even if the scale is trying to bring you down. Stick around until the end because you won't want to miss this. Before we start, I want to ask you if you're in the process of losing weight. If you'd like to lose a few pounds, how many pounds are you looking to lose? Write it for me down here in the comments. I'd love to see your comment. And if you've already reached your goal and lost many pounds, however many you've lost, write that for me too. I love seeing these success stories. If you know someone who's going through this phase in life, take the opportunity to share this video. Who knows, it might help more people feel motivated. And if you could also help me out, like the video, it's really important for me here on the channel. It's really cool to know that there are several signs our body gives us, physical, metabolic, and even behavioral, that indicate our fat is decreasing. So I've picked out 10 of the main ones for you to pay attention to. There's no way not to start with that sign that many people don't give as much importance to as they should, which is when your clothes start to feel looser, even if the scale doesn't budge. This is a sign that you really need to pay attention to. It's definitely the most important one. When your clothes get looser, the belt notch changes, so you have to tighten it more. Your pants fit differently, and even your shirt feels baggier. This shows us that the body is reducing its amount of fat for a very simple and very important reason. Fat takes up much more space by volume than muscle does. In other words, muscle is dense, it's firm, it's heavy. And a pound of fat isn't like that. It's lighter and bulkier. It takes up a lot of space, a lot of volume in our body. So when you lose fat, you can maintain or even gain a little bit of lean mass, right? If you're in the process of losing weight. The number on the scale changes very little. This happens a lot to people who are doing body recomposition, who are starting a weight loss journey and going to the gym, working out at home, trying to gain more muscle to avoid becoming flabby. So what happens? Fat decreases, muscle increases, or stays the same, which is ideal, because that's what we want for the metabolism to stay active. And then when you try on your clothes, they feel much looser, because subcutaneous fat, especially in the abdominal area and the back, is one of the first to lose volume when your metabolism starts to improve. So many times you'll notice a difference in your clothes and not on the scale, so don't get discouraged. The second unusual sign that our body gives us, which is even a bit strange, is when we feel less hungry and have less craving for sweets. This is a sign that a lot of people notice is happening, but they don't understand why. This starts because you begin to feel less hungry, mainly due to physiology. When you improve your diet, especially when you manage to stabilize glucose spikes, there is a very important hormonal change. We decrease ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and increase GLP-1 and PYY, which are the satiety hormones. You've heard about weight loss pens, right? Ozempic, Mounjaro, Saxenda. These pens help because you are able to provide these hormones, GLP-1, for example, to your body. And when you manage to improve your own secretion of these hormones, when your glucose is more stable, you can avoid those rapid drops that make your brain crave what? Sugar, urgent glucose. So, fewer glucose spikes, less abrupt insulin secretion, fewer crashes, less binge eating. You become more stable. So this is one of the clearest signs that your metabolism is balanced. The third sign our body gives us, and this one is really cool, is that you stop thinking about food all the time. Many people call this food noise, and a lot of people don't talk about it because before, for many people who are overweight in the weight loss process, the day revolves around eating. There's anxiety about food, the urge to think about something crunchy, sweet, different all the time. When you start to improve, to enter a weight loss process, you eat and go on with your day. Food stops being that constant thought for you. This happens because there's a reduction in the activation of the reward system in our brain, mainly the dopamine released in response to ultra-processed foods. So this can also be related to that energy instability I mentioned to you because your body stops interpreting that lack of energy as an urgent need to eat. So, more stability, fewer glucose spikes, less desire to eat all the time, less constant thinking about food. That's a sign that everything is going in the right direction. Another sign that you're losing weight, even if the scale doesn't show any change, is when you feel your energy is more stable throughout your daily life. You stop having that feeling of, I'm exhausted. Then you eat something and think, now I'm managing better, my brain is working better, and then I'm tired again. Because this issue of energy going up and down throughout the day is often related to this unregulated hypersecretion of insulin and also sudden drops. So when we manage to change this axis so that instead of relying primarily on quick glucose all the time, And when the body starts to use fat, which releases energy more slowly and steadily, you begin to have better metabolic flexibility and a more constant energy level throughout the day. This shows that more fatty acids may be getting oxidized, and in this way, it becomes easier for you to keep up with your daily activities. Another very good sign for you to pay attention to is how your sleep is after meals. If you used to feel very sleepy after having lunch, dinner, or a heavier, more substantial meal, and this has improved, it could be related to the fact that before you had glucose spikes, a rapid increase in insulin, and when you have a very quick rise in insulin, it also helps carry more tryptophan to the brain, which increases serotonin production and can cause drowsiness in many people. Besides, the digestive process itself can be heavy, with a lot of dense, fatty, hard-to-digest food, so all this circulation is concentrated in the digestive system and the body becomes more lethargic, so to speak. So when you manage to reduce these spikes, these excessive insulin secretions, you keep your brain more stable, you feel more energetic after eating, with less need to sleep, or even end up sleeping without even realizing it. A really great sign that you should take into consideration, which shows you're on the right track, is when you're able to go longer without eating. This is one of the most interesting signs because you notice that hunger takes longer to come, and it doesn't hit you with that sense of desperation, that urge to eat, that sense of urgency. There's a very important reason for this, once again related to what I mentioned before. Many times, our bodies used to rely heavily on glucose as the main energy source, which leads to those fluctuations I've already explained to you. Glucose, insulin, and so on. And the body interprets this as a lack of energy, which comes back very quickly. And when you start improving your diet and lifestyle, your body begins to use fat as an energy substrate. Insulin becomes more stable, and the fat releases its energy, which is stored in it, more slowly. So, since the body has more readily available energy being supplied all the time, it doesn't need to trigger that constant hunger stimulus. So this is a really great achievement for you to appreciate. Another very important sign for you to notice is when you feel less bloated. Your face, your belly, even your hands and feet. A lot of people associate weight loss only with fat, but there's another very important factor, which is fluid retention. When insulin is very high, the body retains more sodium and more water. Most people don't know this. So when it decreases, we have less retention, less swelling, more body definition, and people notice this. A ring that comes off more easily, a bracelet that doesn't feel tight, socks that don't leave marks, that pair of jeans that doesn't squeeze your belly when you button it. These little details are interesting for you to pay attention to. Another thing is having a flatter, more even stomach when you wake up. This is a very practical sign because when you notice that your abdomen is less bloated first thing in the morning, it indicates better digestion, less fermentation, less inflammation, because your intestines are probably working better. So during the night, we know the body goes into a fasting state, and if your metabolism is better, it can process food more efficiently, reduce gas buildup, and decrease retention. So when you wake up and your stomach is flatter, that's also a sign that your metabolism is working better. Another detail that people sometimes don't notice is that you might feel thirstier and have more urge to go to the bathroom at first, especially to pee. That's because when we reduce the amount of simple carbohydrates, which turn into sugar very quickly, white bread, white flour, white pasta, sweets, all of that, we reduce the amount of stored glycogen, and each gram of glycogen can store about 3 grams of water. So when we manage to release more, to use up more of the accumulated glycogen, we get that whoosh effect, where you release that excess fluid that was causing the bloating I mentioned earlier. So many times at the beginning, you might feel the urge to urinate more often, drink more water, and that's a sign that people sometimes don't notice either. It's worth remembering that the scale can indeed take a while to show results. And that's normal, because before the scale reflects any changes, your metabolism needs to improve. We need a hormonal adjustment, and inflammation needs to decrease in a more balanced way. And this can take days or weeks. Ideally, you shouldn't get discouraged. If you're doing everything right, if you're in a caloric deficit, if you're lowering your insulin levels because you're cutting back on those foods I mentioned, like sugar, white bread, white flour, white potatoes, white pasta, if you're managing to be physically active throughout the day, if you're sleeping better, if you're avoiding alcohol, which hinders weight loss, you will lose weight. Trust the process and keep going. Losing weight is about staying focused. Don't get discouraged. Tell me down below then, if you knew that these signs are so important and not just the scale. For you, does the scale usually fluctuate quickly, or do these signs really come first? I'd love to hear your impression of your own body. Every body is different, right? I want to hear from you, so write to me and tell me how this works for you. I'd love to see your comment. If you know someone who's feeling unmotivated and needs these tips to stay on track with their weight loss journey, share this video. Let's help more people and expand this chain of kindness, because that's what I want here on the channel. And help me out by liking the video, okay? See you next time. Bye.